Bernie Sanders needs to apologize to the voters of Maine and to, everyone that donated to that train wreck of a campaign.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. So John Fetterman, who's a Democrat senator, went live on air to blast Bernie Sanders over Graham Platner because Graham Platner is being accused of some pretty crazy stuff, to include sexual assault. And Bernie Sanders basically forced Graham Platner onto everyone, and John Fetterman has had enough, which is why he went on air to completely humiliate Bernie Sanders. Also, Graham Platner has decided to drop out of the Senate race up in Maine, but he's not making it easy for Democrats at all, because now Democrats are panicking because Graham Platner is trying to choose his own replacement instead of the Democratic Party doing it, which is what we saw with Joe Biden. But let us get into it, starting with this video, this full video of John Fetterman completely humiliating and blasting Bernie Sanders all the way to this point.
Yeah, absolutely. Bernie Sanders needs to apologize to the voters of Maine and to, everyone that donated to that train wreck of a campaign. More than anyone, he pushed P. Hustle into the election, and now, he keeps pushing these communists and these kind of awful anti-American people. So there's plenty of those people that have to humble themselves. Humble yourselves and stop pushing, this kinds of people on people in my party.
John Fetterman has a point. What we are seeing is that a whole bunch of these weird socialist, communist candidates being forced onto us by politicians, the likes of Bernie Sanders, Mamdani, and these other weird socialist candidates. They're pushing all these communist candidates because Bernie Sanders was the one that forced Graham Platner onto the people of Maine. The people of Maine didn't organically discover Graham Platner. And here I have this video to prove to you where Bernie Sanders was out there with Graham Platner, parading around Graham Platner around as if they were like father and son.
Moxie here.
We do like a grab.
I've been out of Moxie in years. Full of nutrients, vitamins, the whole thing. Make America healthy again.
That was Bernie Sanders out in public with Graham Platner, the now disgraced candidate from Maine, the now disgraced communist from Maine. They were out in public, laughing, joking, cozying up, doing all these different things. When Bernie Sanders, he knew exactly who Graham Platner was. And he forced Graham Platner onto the people of Maine and the American people. Because we all know what Graham Platner was being accused of. He had that tattoo. He was being accused of having an affair on his wife. He was being accused of abuse and all these other different things, allegedly. And here we have Bernie Sanders, where he was confronted about Graham Platner, and this is how he responded. Play clip.
Senator, are you still supporting Platner after all the scandals?
What are you hoping to understand from him today, or hear from him today, sir?
Senator Sanders,
are you confident that there are no more?
Look, all I can tell you is that the wealthiest people in this country have now reserved close to $100 million in TV ads in a small state like Maine. So what are the billionaires worried about? Why are they spending?
Oh yes, there's this man that's running for one of the most powerful offices in the country. And when asked about it, what you're talking about are billionaires that aren't really doing anything to you, Bernie Sanders. You've been saying billionaires are going to take over the country. The oligarchy is on the march. You've been saying that since 1775, basically. And we still haven't seen that manifested. But you are saying, well, this man that's being accused of these crazy, wild things at first, right? Because this was the second round of allegations. When they came out, they asked Bernie Sanders. And that is what he had to say, to blame the billionaires, instead of looking within to say, well, what did we do wrong as a party or as a socialist to choose this communist that's being accused of all these crazy things? It just doesn't make sense to me how these politicians operate. And now let us get back to John Fetterman, because he had something to say, a message for P. Hustle or Graham Platner.
the thing. I would say to him, like, P. Hustle, bro, you will only be remembered as the accused rapist that got pushed out of your election. That's your legacy, bro. And you are a guy that cheats on your wife. You're the guy that roughs up your ex-girlfriends. You know, that's your legacy, bro.
Damn. John Fetterman did not hold back. He just doesn't care at all at this point. I think John Fetterman, he should either start his own party or maybe become a Republican at this point, because John Fetterman is a real Democrat. He's the old school Democrat. When you hear them talk about Democrats that were old school, that's who they're talking about, not this crazy party that you're seeing today. But here we have Graham Platner, because he decided to drop out of the race after Democrats pressured him to drop out. But he's not going out laying down, because what he's trying to do, he's also trying to find his own replacement, which is pissing off a lot of Democrats.
I think, as many of you know, over the past couple days, I have faced some very serious allegations, and I just want to make it clear. This is all false. The things that have been claimed did not happen. It's not real. We believe that for the movement to continue, it can't be made. And for that reason, we are suspending campaign operations.
That was a video posted by Graham Platner continuing to deny the allegations, and then he proceeded to suspend his campaign. Here we have this article speaking on how Democrats are accusing Platner of meddling, trying to pick his own replacement if he drops out. And we already know that he dropped out of the race. And the article continues to say that Democrats are accusing their embattled Maine Senate nominee, Graham Platner, of trying to influence who would replace him if he drops out of the race after facing rape allegations. And that Democrats have been looking for a new nominee, where Devin Murphy, the executive director of the Maine Democratic Party, accused Platner's team of trying to, quote, put their thumb on the scale of what this process looks like, CNN reported on Tuesday. So basically what they're saying is that Graham Platner and his team, they're trying to tip the scale, basically, because instead of suspending his campaign and dropping out of the race, what they're doing, they're looking for their own replacement. And this is exactly what we saw with Joe Biden, because when Joe Biden bombed that debate, what happened is that Democrats were calling for him to drop out of the race. But instead of just dropping out and let the process plays out, what Joe Biden did, he chose Kamala as his replacement. And we all know that Kamala wasn't the strongest candidate, and we all know how that ended. But here we have The View torching Graham Platner for trying to pull this move. Play clip.
If he's not qualified for the job, he's not qualified to pick his successor. He didn't get the job. He was pushed out. The Maine law says that the Democratic Party then places someone or has a replacement for him. So he doesn't get a say, but he's kind of holding his position hostage.
And that brings us to the end of this video. Please let me know what you think in the comment section below in regards to Bernie Sanders forcing Graham Platner onto the American people and the people of Maine as well. And let me know what you think in regards to Graham Platner trying to choose his own replacement. Also, please consider liking, sharing, commenting, and subscribing, and I'll see you in the next video. I appreciate you watching all the way to the end. I really do appreciate you guys. And leave a comment below, like, share, and if you can hype this video, I'd really appreciate it as well. Thank you.